Dude, you know what the problem is with these podcasts and doing these? Whenever you come in here and you ask me and beg me to come in here and give some thoughtful insight to counter all your harebrained schemes in these podcasts.
Oh, I have the harebrained schemes, really.
And don't deflect here.
No,
Real problem here.
you're the one who says the moon landing's not real. You're the one who's a Russian agent, and you're the one who believes, unironically, that the Federal Reserve is trying to kill JFK.
See, you are just like the average viewer of this podcast. You think that everything's serious, and you don't understand what's a joke, and when to just take it as a joke, and when to leave it alone. And you take everything too serious, and you assume that that's my opinion.
Are you saying
You're making bad?
Hold up. Are you saying it's all a joke?
It's all a joke.
Okay.
You have poor Riz.
We back.
Yeah.
5 months later.
Wasn't long enough.
No, it wasn't. I don't want to do this.
I don't really either. But by popular demand, we are so back.
Yeah.
Yeah. We had to take some time to repair the friendship, which had some rough times after the big one last season.
Yeah, the moon debate really destroyed our friendship for a while. We didn't talk for like 2 days.
Yeah, I still think you have a bad haircut over it.
Yeah, well, you're still a Russian asset.
You're allowed to be wrong.
Anyway.
But anywho.
So Wesley, Mr. Ray, school year just started. What did you do this summer?
Well, one of my hobbies that I do in my free time that I really enjoy is I like exhibition shooting.
Yeah.
And for those of you who are not familiar with the term, what this means is I like to go out and do like trick shots with rifles to see if I can. Just to see if I can. And one of them I had the privilege of doing this summer was some 1,000-yard shooting, some long distance shooting. And that was a fun time. What'd you do, Mr. Thomas?
Built a deck.
You built a deck?
Uh-huh.
Yeah?
Yeah. I now have a front door that leads somewhere.
Huh.
Rather than me just being able to jump out of it whenever I want to.
Huh. I liked it better the other way.
I didn't.
Yeah, but I don't care how you feel about that.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
I think that's a well-determined, well-researched topic for us.
Yeah. At this point, it should be established.
Yeah.
We don't really respect each other's feelings very well, and we sort of live on each other's toes. Yeah.
That was the main reason I didn't really want to do this.
Yeah, I mean,
but
I had to like buy brats and be like, hey, I'm cooking brats just to get you to agree to this.
No, that is not at all what happened.
Oh, don't look! My money bought these brats.
My student cornered us at the football game and made us promise to record a podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which student was it?
I'm not.
Oh, you probably can't name that.
That'd
Never
be
mind.
A dumb thing to do.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. That was dumb. All right. So what are we here to talk about?
Well, you talked about doing some exhibition shooting, and that's got me thinking. I've been doing some research into the JFK assassination.
Is that right?
Yeah. Mainly,
what got you on that one?
Oh, I don't know. Just the political climate.
Huh. Okay. All right.
And I of course believe in the one shooter theory, right? I believe that Lee Harvey Oswald definitely shot JFK.
Oswald?
That was his name?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Oswald?
Yeah.
Have you looked into this very much at all?
I'd say a fair amount.
A fair amount? Okay.
Certainly not to the extent that I'm sure you have, I'm sure. Considering you're looking at me like I'm an idiot. But.
Well, I do that on most days, but I also don't have a right to because I usually turn out to be the idiot.
Well, this is a smart and dumb podcast for a reason.
That's true. I'm a master of being an idiot, so I've had a lot of practice.
I'm not.
I hate you. You're so arrogant. I hate you. I can't stand you as a person.
Well, neither can I.
Okay. Well, glad we're in agreement. So, before I tell you why all the reasons why you could possibly be wrong, and I have a laundry list, because I think that your arguments are poorly constructed.
Arguments are poorly?
Yeah. Your arguments are like poorly constructed. They're made in bad faith, and you might be an imposter intellectual.
You're the one who can't ever give me secondary or primary sources. You're the one who can't ever explain except for, yeah, I just feel that way, or that it just feels wrong. All of those three things are what leads into being an imposter intellectual.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, just because I lost a bet over who would receive the primary nomination from the Democratic Party does not mean that you get to talk about me like I'm some kind of a second-rate citizen.
No, but what you do have to do, though,
I'm the victim here.
No, what you do have to do, though, is give me secondary sources and primary source evidence.
All right.
I just need evidence.
All right. Well, then let's
In
just
fact,
stick
you know
to the
what?
facts.
I'm going to do something different today.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to go sit at my computer and I'm going to fact check you as you tell me all your stuff about this. I'm going to sit right over here.
Okay.
I'm going to pull up Google.
All right.
I'm going to fact check you.
Feels like you're cheating, but okay. I'll let you do it.
Hey, you didn't. Hey, you promised me Michelle Obama would be the nominee. And
That's
it didn't
true.
happen.
I did seriously think that she would be.
And it didn't happen.
And it didn't happen. I don't remember this being a part of that bet, but I'll let you do it.
I'm amending the deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Pray it doesn't change any further.
Oh, okay. All right. I see you. It
was a Vado quote, right?
What's that?
It was a Vado quote, right?
Yes.
Something like that. Okay, good.
Yes.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
So, to start with, why don't you, before I go into all this, let's keep this somewhat educational. Why don't you tell me what you know about the JFK?
So a couple things. JFK is elected president in 1960.
Okay.
As a moderate Democrat.
Okay.
A moderate Democrat back then being somebody who was trying to balance the needs of the Northern Democrats and the Southern Democrats.
Okay.
Moderate Democrats then were people who believed in the New Deal era policies of,
which is like Roosevelt
of JFK, not JFK, Roosevelt.
Okay.
FDR.
Peanut butter at your mouth.
While also believing in while also not really wanting to touch the segregation issue. At this point in time, that's still a largely Republican era part of politics, that the Republicans are the ones for civil rights and things.
Okay.
And the Democrats are too divided to really figure out what they believe on it or not.
Okay. So as far as on social issues, if you rewind the clock to the 1960s, the Republicans are like the progressives of the 1960s? I very loosely say that?
Because the Republicans are socially, they're not liberal, but they believe in some civil rights, right?
Okay.
But it's not black and white quite like that. But Republicans are generally more pro-civil rights, and Democrats and Northern Democrats are going along with the Republicans on this a lot of the time, and Southern Democrats aren't.
Okay.
However, after FDR, but the Southern Democratic part of the country, I should say, is definitely the more powerful of the two at this point.
Okay.
They've got all the big name senators like LBJ, like Strom Thurmond.
Okay.
They're the ones who are in control of the Democratic Party at this point.
And so JFK is kind of on the outs with them or on the ins with them?
Outs.
Outs.
Because JFK is arguing for a Civil Rights Act.
Okay, so he's trying to be a decent human being.
Yes.
And that's not going. So. And that's not going well for him.
Well, no, and the Southern Democrats hated JFK.
Okay.
There was a big push in '64 to try to dump him and replace him with somebody else.
Huh. We've never seen that before, have we?
Anyway, there's a big push for him to get dumped by the party and have somebody a bit more Southern in the White House.
All right, somebody a little bit more savvy.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
There was a big push by the party to dump him, like I've said. And in fact, a lot of Southerners hate JFK. They voted for him thinking, we'll get the economic policies that we like that we've come to love from the Democrats, but none of the social policies that the North are trying to force on us, right? And then JFK kind of was like, hey, Civil Rights Act. So a lot of Southern Democrats hated him.
Okay.
And by Southern Democrats at this point, I'm referring to the people.
Okay.
And there was a lot of fear of him getting shot if he went south.
That aged well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And in fact, in a lot of these cities, there were signs and people who were saying, he better not come here because we'll kill him.
Well, it's refreshing to know that today's politics is not necessarily the all-time high for extremism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But most of it was just talk, right?
Yeah.
And in fact, I'm not inclined to believe that that's what caused Lee Harvey Oswald to shoot JFK. I think it was just all talk and idle talk about how like a lot of Democrats when Trump was president said if he came here we'd shoot him or kill him and stuff. Just like
Sure.
how a lot of Republicans
and just one kind of unhinged guy decided to take that too far.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or like how a lot of Republicans said that about Obama.
Okay.
These are just things that are said sometimes.
Yeah.
And high polarizing times. And the 60s was a really polarizing time.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a couple other things going on that affect how we view this part of history.
Oh, them brats
you should
sizzling.
Step away so we can actually hear what we're saying.
Woo! I'm about to get them brats going now. Tell you.
The Vietnam War is starting.
Yeah.
JFK is kind of started. He hasn't started the surge yet, but he's starting to really look at, hey, what happens if we go all in on this, and what happens if we pull out, right?
Yeah.
By this point, our primary sources tell us JFK was looking to pull out. He didn't really want the country to get involved in Vietnam.
All right.
And that's a policy that a lot of moderates stand with him on. Like Nixon says the same thing, and he's the Republican opponent of JFK.
Yeah.
In 1960. So this is something moderates are thinking that, hey, maybe Vietnam's not worth.
Maybe we need to stop dumping people over there to go die in the jungle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cuba happens. The Bay of Pigs happened.
Okay.
The Cuban Missile Crisis happens. We kind of shove it to the Democrats, to the Soviets.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we kind of tell the Soviets, and then we support a bunch of free Cubans to go and invade the Bay of Pigs. JFK promises them aerial support and then backs out of it at the last second. So he kind of's got the military industrial groups not very happy with him.
Yeah, and the military industrial groups in the United States at the time were a fairly powerful lot. Yeah.
Yeah, a bit more powerful than they are today, I'd say. I'd argue.
Ooh. Okay.
Because
hot take.
Well, I think that because it was those groups that very much overtly told the president that they didn't want their weapons used in Bay Pigs, and then the president just listened to him.
Huh.
Right. So.
Okay.
So all that goes down.
Anybody ever tell you yap a lot?
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to get you in a direction where I'm learning something here.
Dude, I think I am teaching you.
And you're over here trying to make like coffee and stuff.
Yeah, but you see the difference is I kind of take my speech classes from the Putin era. So when you ask me a question, I have to go back 10,000 years in history.
Do a 30-minute seminar on the history of all this.
Yeah.
Well, you see, ladies and gentlemen, it began with this tax on tea.
Anyway, to make a long story short, people are not happy with JFK in 1963. I think the average overall American probably is, but interest groups are not. You've got the Southern Democrats who hate him because he's advocating for civil rights. You've got the Soviets who hate him because he's actively stood up to them and the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cubans hate him because he's trying to kill Castro.
Yeah.
And then, people are just not happy. Powerful people are not happy with JFK in 1963.
Okay.
So that's kind of where everybody stands, right?
All right.
I dropped my fork. So I'm going to let you take it off from here, and I'm going to fact check you as we go through this.
All right. Well, first off, I'd like to say that these brats are really good, and that this, just like everything else I've ever done in my life, I happen to be really good at. And
I don't know. I ate that deal like a couple weeks ago.
yeah,
Yeah.
that didn't come out so hot. All right, let me crack open a ice cold Pepsi. All right, so here's what I know. Lee Harvey Oswald was in the United States Marine Corps from such and such year to such and such year. And the guy actually demonstrates that he's a decent shot. This guy he is not the Trump shooter. Okay? There are some distinct differences. This guy has a military service background, and he scores sufficient enough to be labeled as a marksman with an M1 Garand. Okay? Now, an M1 Garand is, as Patton said, the greatest implement of war ever devised. Okay, by today's standards, maybe a little outdated. Okay,
maybe just a little, but nothing.
Maybe a little, but 30-06 semi-auto rifle, pretty decent weapon and very historically significant.
Yeah.
Okay. That was Oswald when he was in the service and had access to such.
Do you know when he was in the service?
I want to say it was in the 1950s. I want to say he may have been involved in Korea.
He was court-martialed twice while in the Marines and jailed.
Yes, he was dishonorably discharged.
He was honorably released from active duty in the Marine Corps into the Marine Corps Reserves, then flew to Europe and defected to the Soviet Union in October of 1959.
Oh, so he wasn't dishonorably discharged?
Apparently not.
Huh.
His military career, he served from 56 to 59, and his highest rank held was private first class.
Okay. So, not a gentleman that made it very far in a military career.
No.
But he did serve in the 50s, which does line up with the Korean War. Okay.
A bit after, like 3 years after.
Yeah, they were still doing cleanup over there.
Yeah, but it's largely over by 1956.
All right. Oswald is the hypothetical shooter involved here, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So, here's my story, which you can fact check whatever you want. JFK had a real problem with some of the things that we as a country were doing. All right, I believe this, and I believe that as a part of all these harebrained schemes, one of the things that he would need to do in order to stop said problems is to shut down the Federal Reserve, which I think in his day, I think he may have suspected that they were making a money printer go burr to keep the American industrial complex fed. And by that I mean the American military industrial complex fed. So I think JFK was trying to fight the Federal Reserve.
Okay.
And I think the government was not very happy with him for trying to fight the Federal Reserve. Because I think
you don't believe in like the Soviets killed him or the Cubans killed him or the CIA killed him. You think the Federal Reserve kills him?
No. The CIA kills him because he's fighting against their ability to use the Federal Reserve as a cudgel to get infinite money and therefore infinite boomsticks and infinite boomy thingies.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're wrong. No way. Yeah.
Why don't you look that up? You tell me he wasn't involved in trying to shut down or rein in the Fed.
Did Kennedy try to end the Federal Reserve?
I'm gonna eat your brat.
Oh wow.
Such a dumb person. Oh wow. Mr. Ray was right about something.
Presented the theory that Kennedy was trying to rein in the Federal Reserve and forces exposed to those orders being played according to Morrow's the insurance of Executive Order 11110. He wanted to transfer power from the Federal Reserve to the United States Department of the Treasury by replacing Federal Reserve notes with silver certificates. Okay, let me click on this executive order. So he wanted to give the Federal, he wanted to take away the Federal Reserve's power to print money and give it to the. Okay. Oh, it was revoked
Yeah, when was it revoked?
in March of 1964.
When did JFK die?
Kennedy was assassinated on November 22nd of 1963. So about 6 months later.
Oh, okay.
No,
So
5 months later.
he dies under mysterious circumstances, and then did they revoke any other uh, of his what do you call those things?
Executive orders.
Executive orders. Did they revoke any other of his EOs in that amount of time?
Hold up. How many executive would really help if I could type have of Kennedy's have been revoked?
Could you do it faster? Your brat's over here getting cold.
I'm not going to eat the brats while we're recording.
I'm going to.
Yeah, I know, because you're a bad person.
Yeah. But they're good brats. I had to work hard to make these brats for like
Shut up.
7 minutes.
I can't figure out how many were revoked, but I'm going to assume not that many, because it's generally they don't get revoked, they get changed, right?
Okay, sure. Well, what I'm doing here is I'm trying to do what any homicide investigator tries to do. Okay, and that is establish motive. And I would like to present motive. Now,
Well, let me say this. Lee Harvey Oswald was a communist. Defected to the Soviet Union, lived there for a couple years,
yeah,
comes back. Who's to say that he wasn't sent on a mission he wasn't re-educated over there, sent on a mission by the Soviet government, by the KGB, by the NKVD to
yeah,
put a bullet in Kennedy's head, or two.
yeah. Are you trying to take the entire like plot synopsis of Black Ops 1 and regurgitate it to me, or
I'm just asking, my guy.
Oh, okay.
Just asking.
All right. Who's to say that didn't happen? Well, nobody, because most of these people are probably dead now anyway. And Oswald certainly is not going to tell us because he dies under mysterious circumstances less than like 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's convenient, by the way.
Or maybe
not convenient for Oswald, but convenient for a lot of other people.
Or maybe the guy who killed him was just such a fanboy of Kennedy that he felt like he had to shoot him.
You know,
you can't tell me that if Trump had gotten shot and they had taken, what's his name, Thomas Crooks or whatever, at Matthew Crooks, whatever.
I don't know.
The Trump shooter in prison. That there wasn't going to be a Trump supporter who tried to kill him.
That's true. Somebody probably would have tried to defend Trump's honor. Teach that. What was he? 19.
Yeah.
Teach that 19-year-old a lesson. Yeah. Anywho. All right. So let me just come out and say it. I don't believe the story, and I don't believe that Oswald did it.
Why?
Because the shot is not. I'm not going to say it's impossible because I think the right person could do it. I just don't think Oswald was the right person. Now, Oswald demonstrates an above-average competency with the rifle.
Yeah.
But he demonstrates an above-average competency with a rifle.
With the M1 Garand.
Okay?
Yeah.
Now, for those of you watching at home, the qualifiers for such a thing are shooting a stationary target at 200 yards. And I don't know what the size of the target is, but a 200-yard stationary target off of an M1 Garand is a possible shot. He makes 48, 49 of them out of 50. I mean, he's a decent shot. He's pretty good. Okay? Above average. But that was
better than I could do off of irons.
Yeah, maybe. That was not the rifle that he used to kill Kennedy.
Okay, what was the rifle he used to kill Kennedy?
Well, it's called an Italian Carcano, and they were designed and used by the Italians, amongst other governments and groups.
In World War II, I imagine?
No. In roughly the 1880s and 1890s.
Oh.
Okay.
So this is like pre-World War I era. This is first round of bolt action.
This is a pre-modern era rifle. Yeah.
first round of bolt actions, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This would be like taking
Like
a
that
first
Swedish
run Mosin Nagant.
This is like taking the Swedish gun we copied.
The needle gun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a lot like that. Except this is not well made. These are not. These are not like. Okay, this is not the Rolls Royce of bolt action guns here. Okay.
Yeah.
And it'll go bang when you pull the trigger most of the time, but that's about what it'll do. Okay. These rifles, if you've got good ammo, and I mean you're shooting top tier stuff, modern stuff like today's stuff, okay, you could expect 3 to 5 inches out of a rifle like this at 100 yards, reasonably. If you happened to have just the one-off, well put together Italian Carcano, you might have a 2-inch gun at 100 yards. That's what's called 2 MOA for those of you watching at home.
At 200, so it's okay.
Yeah. And that stands for minute of angle. And that means that if you basically, a minute of angle is an angle measurement that is 1/60th of 1 degree at the muzzle. And if you do the trigonometry, for those of you watching at home, see on math, okay? If you do the trigonometry, and if you have an angle measure of 1/60th of 1 degree on one side, and your long arm of the triangle is 100 yards or 300 feet, the short arm of the triangle, 100 yards away, is 1.007 inches, and that's 1 MOA. So any error at the muzzle equating to 1/60th of 1 degree changes your bullet's point of impact by roughly 1 inch at 100 yards. A Carcano is roughly, and if you've got it dialed in, okay, you're looking at a 3-inch gun at 100 yards. That error is perfectly linear. So if it's a 3-inch gun at 100 yards, multiply the distance by 2, also means multiply the error by 2.
At 200 yards, it's going to be 6.
It's going to be a 6-inch gun. Yeah. And at 1,000 yards, it's going to be a 30-inch gun. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Shooting a cartridge, it's like a 6.5 by
I'll tell you.
52? Fact check me on that. 6.5 by 52.
You said it's a Carcano?
Yeah. Carcano.
Italian Carcano. 6.5 by 52.
Okay, all right. So think the case size of a 308.
You're right. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's an old
Designed
gun.
in 1890.
Yeah, old gun, old cartridge, because that's the cartridge they came out with back then too.
Yeah.
Which, in some ways, the cartridge was kind of ahead of its time because that's not unlike us seeing the 6.5 Creedmoor come back into the shooting world today.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It was in service in the Italian army from 1891 to 1981 for 90 years.
Yeah.
Probably with just their battle rifle, like their training rifle, probably.
Yeah, probably.
Kind of like the M14 is for us.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. We use those because we have them and we got to find something to do with them. So, and I'm sure that's
because
what they
objectively we made a mistake making the M14 the standard issue.
Yeah, and they made a mistake ever investing into this platform. Well, anywhere past the year 1900. So, the round is capable, okay? Think the power of a 308 behind something somewhat larger than a 243 in caliber.
Yeah.
So, it's a high velocity cartridge, especially for its time. If you were to have modern powders, it'd be pretty quick. But with the older powders, you're not going to have quite the performance. Probably 2,000 to 2,500 feet per second, depending on the load. Depending on the weight of the bullet. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the gun, it's shoddy. It's real shoddy. Okay? And, that gun on a moving target at several hundred yards, okay? A human head, you can figure, 8 inches? I mean, yours is going to be massive because you got all that useless whatever crammed up in there. But think human head, probably 8 inches across? that seem realistic? I don't have a ruler with me.
I've got a measuring tape.
Why don't you confirm what I'm saying?
Hold up. I've got a measuring tape.
Oh, you and your semantics. You're the reason all these videos take so long. I can't stand it. I hate you.
I've got a measuring tape somewhere here. There it is.
Killing our viewership. Shout out to those people who are still listening to the podcast at this point in the episode, because this is ridiculous.
Look over here.
All right, yeah. Why don't you measure
your forehead's approximately 5.5 inches.
Oh, wow. So it's not even 8 inches across. Okay. Oh, yeah. Yours is a solid, 6.5, my guy. Yeah. All right.
Anyway, sorry for that diversion.
Now that we're done measuring. So bear with me now. So what we're trying to establish here is the error of the gun itself makes it very improbable that if you had a robot standing up there on the 6th story of that building, something like that. If you had a robot up there on a stationary target, it's very possible that of no error to the shooter, the gun just misses. It just misses. That can happen. If a human head is 5 and change across, if you're aiming center mass,
I'm going to stop you real quick.
The bullet can just fly off the side.
I'm going to stop you real quick.
Okay.
He fires 3 times.
Yeah. In the span of 7 seconds, by the way.
Yeah, but it's not that hard to work a bullet.
But the problem is that this gun is what we call a thumper.
Hold up.
Okay.
What's the range on this?
Oh, it's got to be, there's no way they let him inside of 200 yards. Okay, so we're looking at easily 6 inches of error here. There's no way they let him inside 200 yards.
You sure about that?
I feel like I read it somewhere. I feel like I read it in a book once upon a time.
Okay, continue yapping, and I'm gonna.
All right.
Fact check. I'm gonna look this up.
Yeah. You better, because I know that without your computer to fact check everything, you're useless.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, I don't know the range, the range of the yardage there between a guy sitting in a car on ground level and somebody in a building in Dallas, Texas.
You are the guy who could give me 1,000 years of Roman emperors by name in chronological order, and you can't tell me the distance that Oswald shot that guy at?
Okay, wait, I need to pull up Google Maps real quick.
And by that guy, I mean the 35th president of the United States, John F. Kennedy. I think he's the 35th. I don't know that.
Depository. Yeah, it was the 6th floor.
Yeah.
So if I look at this map here, and I see what are we
looking at? 250 yards, maybe?
Hold up. Measure distance. Approximately 257 feet.
257 yards?
Feet. Yeah. Feet.
You're dumb. Move over. That map's wrong.
Come here.
That map's wrong.
No, so
you got the wrong building.
Look at this. See? So if he's right here,
all right,
on this edge of the building, and the shot's here, and I put it as shot 3.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Google Maps.
Yeah.
257 feet.
Oh.
Yeah. You're wrong.
That shot's doable.
And he even missed once to account for that the bullet just doesn't do what you want it to do. You know what I mean?
I hate you.
Oh,
the computer's cheating, and you know that it is. The computer's cheating, and
the computer's cheating. Are you for real right now?
The computer is cheating. I bet you had to use AI to look up how far that was.
I literally Googled a map of Kennedy shot, and then transplanted that onto Google Maps so I could get a distance.
Chat, he's so cooked.
Dude, you're the one who's been wrong this whole. You said 200 yards.
Chat, without AI, he can't do any of this. Bro had to stop before we got on this debate so that he could download a software update and argue with me.
You were the one standing up over here, Googling information about the Italian Carcano and MOA stats and all that.
Bro's Neuralink is shorting out right now as we speak.
You're an idiot.
Yeah, I got nothing.